Everything happens for a reason. In the heart of Mumbai lived a young woman named Meera, a passionate architect in her late 20s. She had dedicated the last 5 years of her life to working at one of the city's top firms. Her dream was clear: to one day lead a prestigious architectural project, something that would put her name on the map. Her opportunity finally came when the firm was chosen to design a landmark hotel near Marine Drive. Her supervisor had subtly hinted that if she continued her dedication, the project leadership might fall into her hands. For weeks, Meera worked tirelessly late nights, skipped meals, and constant revisions. But then, out of nowhere, life took a sharp turn. One Monday morning, she was called into the conference room. The leadership role was being handed to someone else, Rohan, a senior architect with more experience. Meera was devastated. "What more did I need to prove?" she muttered to herself as she packed up her things that evening. She had never felt so defeated. Disillusioned, Meera decided to take a break. She applied for unpaid leave and booked a month-long solo trip to Himachal Pradesh, hoping the mountains would clear her mind. During a hike near a remote village, she slipped on a wet rock and fell down a slope. Locals found her unconscious and carried her to a nearby clinic. She had fractured her leg and needed at least 6 weeks of rest. "Why is this happening to me?" she cried in frustration, lying on a thin mattress in a quiet village with no mobile signal. But the villagers, especially an elderly woman named Amadoma, took care of her with gentle smiles and warm meals. Over the weeks, Meera started observing life around her, simple, slow, yet deeply connected. She started sketching again. Not buildings this time, but landscapes, people, and moments. Children from the village would sit by her, watching her draw. One day, Amadoma handed her a piece of paper. It was an old, faded blueprint of the village. "We want to rebuild our community center," she said. "Will you help us?" Meera hesitated. This was not the big city project she dreamed of. But something inside her said yes. Over the next month, Meera designed a sustainable, culturally rooted community center, using local materials and involving the villagers in the building process. She wasn't working with steel and glass, but with stone, mud, bamboo, and heart. News of the project reached a documentary filmmaker passing through the village. Fascinated, he filmed the entire process. A few months later, the short film was screened at an international architecture and sustainability summit in Delhi. Meera was invited to speak. Standing on the stage, with images of her village project behind her, she told her story of rejection, disappointment, a fall in the mountains, and finding her purpose in unexpected places. The crowd was silent, then erupted in applause. A few days later, she received multiple offers from global organizations wanting to collaborate on sustainable architecture in rural India. And one email stood out. Subject: Lead Architect Himalayan Eco Resort Project. It was from a firm in Switzerland that had seen the documentary. They weren't just offering her a job, they were offering her a dream. Years later, Meera stood atop a hill, overlooking a completed eco-resort she had designed, nestled into the landscape, respecting nature, and built with the local community. Looking back, she realized, if she had been given that hotel project in Mumbai, she would have never taken that trip. If she hadn't fallen, she wouldn't have stayed in the village. If she hadn't paused, she wouldn't have rediscovered her creativity and purpose. She finally understood. Everything happens for a reason, not always in the moment, not always in a way we like, but every detour, delay, and disappointment had carried her exactly where she needed to be.